Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for you to join us today for another Sparkle and Shine interview series. Today, I have the lovely Tiffany Eiben here. She is an herbalist. I'm sorry about my phone. She is an herbalist, and she has studied. She's went to school for it. She'll tell you all about that. And so today we're here, it's June, we're going to talk about having fun, we're going to talk about it being summer, we're going to talk about there being sunshine, and water might come up or playing in the water. I don't know what's going to come up. You know, we have these organic interview conversations where we really just talk about life, but we also do our best to embrace what is going on in each month. So, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you could, please just tell us who you are, what you're about, and what your business is. So let's start there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm excited to be here. I'm an herbalist. I went to school and graduated and all that fun stuff for it. So I make my own products now using herbs and infusing them into oils to make like herbal salves for healing, bones and muscles, itching, all that fun stuff. And I make a few other natural body products as well, like talc-free body powder and chemical-free body sprays, all that good stuff. Yeah, I don't, what else? I'm sorry.
No, it's totally cool. It's totally cool. Did you say the name of your business? Because you have
the business is called Herbal Love and Conscious Living.
There we go. Yeah. So Tiffany is super cool. We are, of course, like I said, we're just going to talk kind of organically like always, but our kickoff question is going to be, what brought you to the online space?
After like last year, I started doing like a farmer's market, vendor market, whatnot, with a friend of mine who also has her own product business. And that we just started using that to kind of expose ourselves and get out there a little bit more. But I decided that I finally needed to get my stuff online. If I was, the markets are only temporary here in Arizona. It's really hot during the summer, so nobody wants to be outside shopping anyways like that. So, so I created my own Facebook page for the business to list my products on there and take orders that way. So I could kind of keep things going throughout the summer, and also just to start reaching out, meeting new people and other people, moms especially, like who are have their own business, and just trying to learn more and keep things going. I'm always wanting to learn. So
yeah.
And I'm very fortunate. I found some really good groups and been meeting some awesome people like you. So,
well, I know it was super cool to meet you online, and I love your fun personality and the ways that you like share and support other people in some of the groups that we happen to share online as well. But I'm really curious to know what, if you could share with us kind of how it works. Okay, no, first of all, wait a second. First of all, do the farmers markets actually shut down in the summer in Arizona?
Mostly. There are a couple that stay up year round, and they're just run very early, like in the morning from like 7 to 11 or something like that. But at least in my area, like I'm not really sure in other areas, but I know of two for sure that stay up year round. But the one that we were at particularly, and a lot of other ones, they're only seasonal. So they run usually from like October, November to April, May, somewhere in that area. They do have more like up north, but like I'm down in the valley, like hot. So up north, like in the mountains and stuff like that, like they have more stuff throughout the summer than we do for sure.
Yeah,
So,
that's interesting. Okay, so it's sort of opposite because we're in North Carolina, and so our like spring and summer, the markets are like abundant, like so huge. And there's like some that like sort of pop up, and then but once like fall hits, either some shut down or like it's just so limited that
yeah.
So it's sort of opposite. And so that's what I was wondering. That's really interesting, super cool. Okay, so let's talk about summer and how, because we already started sort of leading into that as far as your business. So tell us just a little bit about, say, some of the things that that people struggle with in summer, and how it is that like your business can sort of help them with those things.
Well, like recently, I just had a promotion offering a summer essentials package for that purpose. So that included a few of my products that were especially good for summertime. So one of them was the body powder, which is great to help with like reducing sweat and like chafing and things like that. You could use it all over, and I like it like to put on my face after I put my makeup on, and it kind of helps reduce the shine and absorb some of that sweat and everything. So there was that, and then there was also the itch stick that I have because we have mosquitoes aplenty. So that's a good one, and it's also good for like ant bites and stuff like that. And then my healing stick, which is good for cuts and abrasions. So if you're outdoors more and stuff like that, especially with kids, at least my kids are clumsy, and so am I. So we always have to have that on hand, and it's also actually can help with sunburns too. So. Then I have an all natural lip balm that was included, and a hand sanitizer spray. So those were just a few of the things that you could keep in your bag wherever you go, your swim bag or, beach bag, picnic bag, whatever, you can keep on you and use for the whole family.
That is so totally cool and so necessary. By the way, my kids are like, okay, one of them is not as clumsy as the other one. So one of them, and so our middle son is he can be kind of clumsy. He doesn't have quite the athleticism as his older brother and his father. He's probably more like his mom. But he like picks his skin, so he just has to gets a cut or something, and then he just like, get worse no matter what I do. So anyway, and okay, so do you have any products that help people with the water stuff? Because I know people spend a lot of time in the water, or at least they start to, or just sort of around, I guess the sunburn balm that you have.
Yeah, like it's not like specific for sunburns, and really it wasn't even something like I always just recommend straight aloe, especially if you have a fresh aloe plant. That is, I mean, it's an amazing thing for burns of all kinds. But when we were doing the market, I had a young lady come in and she had a really bad sunburn. She asked if we had anything. And we told her, we're like, get some aloe, put aloe on it, and I was like, you could try, I offered her the healing salve that I have. I'm like, you can try some of this. I had a sample of it. So I was like, here, I'm like, is it in an area, like, can you show me like where it's at? And, I'll help you, I'll put some on. So like, I put some of it on her shoulder for her, cause it was bad. It was like peeling and stuff like that. So she was in a lot of pain from it, and she left it on. She went through the market and stuff, and she ended up coming back. She's like, that helped. It brought some relief. So I want to go and get some. Yeah. And she did. And she ended up coming back in the following week and telling us, she's like, thank you so much. Just like that helped my burn like tremendously. And just thank you. I'm really glad that I found you guys. And I was like, oh, I'm like, all right, well, that's great. It's good to know, because
Wow, what an awesome testimonial there. And
yeah.
to get to see it, especially with herbal products. I know sometimes people get really confused, or I don't know if confusion is the right word, but just there's so much information out there. And I know, at least personally, when I do some research about some stuff, some of the information is conflicting, or, like some person or whatever company may say, oh, this is good for this. And the other one's like, well, you probably shouldn't use this if it's mixed with this. And it just becomes so, it's just so vast, and sometimes it's hard to figure out who to trust and how to learn to trust, because like I have sensitive skin, so I have eczema, and yes, there's gut stuff, but we're not going there. I don't want to talk about it. But I've always had eczema, and when it starts to flare in certain areas, like I don't just want to just put anything on. I want to put on something trustworthy. And that's why it's always super cool, like when I meet people like Tiffany, like you, who actually like know, maybe they went to school, or they just been studying, like really studying for like under somebody for a long time. Then I feel like, okay, I can give this a try, or, so on and so forth, because sometimes I'm looking for a solution, and sometimes I just want a quick remedy. Yeah. So, and I think we all have those things. And
definitely, for sure.
I know that's something that is really important, like for your business as well. And I think that is, I would imagine that's part of the conscious living part of your business. So tell us like a little bit more about how you infused conscious living into like your knowledge and the products that you have and that you sell.
So basically it was just that I wanted to be more, I wanted what I do to go beyond just like the herbal part of it and like the herbalist and whatnot. Like cause I believe and feel that our lives are, that we need to be aware of everything in our life, and it's a whole, mental, physical deal. It's a whole package deal, so we need to be aware of, what we're doing, so if you, if you have skin issues like eczema or whatnot, like like you said, you brought up the whole gut thing, which is definitely a thing, but not just that. It's recognizing things that are, are triggers for you, like my daughter, for one of the things for her is her nerves. Like she tends to break out more when she's more anxious and has some anxiety and stuff going on. We notice more frequent breakouts with her. So we have to figure out, okay, what triggers that, and how can we help that part of her, so that she's not triggering the breakouts as often. So, and, I believe in all things like meditation and, stuff for stress relief, and cause that tends to play in to a lot of problems, like physical problems and all of that. So I just think that I feel like a person should not just be looked at for like their, one or two symptoms that they might be having, or one or two problems. They need to be addressed as the whole person, like what is going on in your whole life right now, what's going on in your head, this, that, the other, and like trying to really figure out, okay, how can I help this person beyond just like, okay, here's a tincture, take it X amount of times and, relieve some of those symptoms. Like, yeah, I can do that. But, essentially that's just a Band-Aid, and, it's fine temporarily. But if you really want to fix something long-term, like you need to look at the whole situation. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super. Okay. I'm sure most people who are watching this and who have been following me for any period of time are probably like, oh yeah, that's totally what Kendall is all about, because it is. Like I'm so much about like what's the root cause or what's underneath or and I'm sometimes okay, all right, I'm not perfect. Okay, so let's just make sure that we're clear, because I don't always do these things, but I sure try. I sure try to find out what are my triggers, or what is something that I can learn from something, like what are the lessons, or to like even just to sort of sometimes just see a challenge, whether it be a physical challenge, a mental challenge, an emotional challenge, or even a spiritual challenge, like just to sort of see what is this challenge, and is there a way I can address it? Is there a way I need to like sort of walk around it just for right now and then come back later? Or is this something that I really like, can I put something small into place to try to go through it? Because I have a thing about going through to the other side versus like, constantly like going around and trying to find an alternate route. But that's just me personally. And it sounds like that in your business, this is often what you help your clients with and your customers, is that you help them to find their ways. And maybe it's taking a tincture, like you said, or maybe it's something as simple as a salve. And, like, let's just be careful, whatever that means, because careful is moderation, right? And I'm sure moderation has a lot to do with you as an herbalist. I'm sure that, if I have a cold or something, you're not going to be like, okay, go eat a whole entire, there's moderation, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and it's very, very important to let people know that it's in anything, whether supplements, herbal medications, diet, all of that. It's definitely moderation for sure.
So does that mean not drink the whole coffee today, or just not drink the whole coffee right now?
Oh my goodness.
I'm just being real. Listen, people. I've not had coffee in a few days. And yes, I always buy a large. I think most of you probably have seen social posts about this, but I usually take a few days to drink it. That might not be the case today. Just saying.
Hey, but you said usually you do. So if you have one day where you don't, like I wouldn't judge for that. You're doing better than me because I finished mine in a day. So
Hey, but that is exactly, that's the point. This is the whole point. And that's the thing about conscious living, is it not? Is that not what I heard you say? Is like you sort of watch for what are you doing, what are you not doing, and how is that affecting you or not affecting you? Exactly. I don't like to drink a whole coffee because I don't put cream in mine. It's sugar and mocha, which is basically sugar and sugar. So so I don't like it. Listen, I think I should avoid some sugar, but we all know that this might not happen for the next like 5 or 7 years. But I don't like to have that like taste in my mouth. It's not necessarily the coffee or the mocha. It's like that buildup of the sugar in my mouth. My mouth literally starts to feel yeasty. Even without, like, I may not have, but it just feels icky. And so I try not to drink. That's why I also have a big bottle of water. And speaking of this, okay, so bringing up the whole water thing and all of this conscious living and trying to be healthful and to have like to live well and have wellness, I have a saying of, I believe that clean drinking water is the magical elixir of life. Now, I'd like to know your response to that as an herbalist.
I actually pretty much agree with that for sure, because so many people do not get enough water. They think they're like, oh yeah, I drank a bottle today, and it's like, really? That's it? Like, no. And I'm on my kids all the time about it too, because like my daughter that has the skin problems and stuff, when she doesn't hydrate properly, like one, she gets really thirsty right before bed, and then she'll start pounding all this water right before she goes to bed. And then she's up, but like peeing, like she pees like 10 times before she goes to sleep. I'm just like, really? Like, no. And then also like her skin starts, she gets drier and everything. Like if you want like nice skin and all of that, you have to hydrate, it comes from the inside. And and also what a lot of people don't know is that you need to hydrate today for tomorrow.
Yes.
So if you plan on running a marathon tomorrow or something like that, you better start drinking your water today. Don't think like, it's not you have to do it today.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, it's a huge, huge thing. And dehydration can cause so many problems, from like kidney issues and, liver and all of that. Like, one of the things that you should do first thing in the morning is drink a big glass of water, preferably with lemon in it. Get that hydration. That's a lot of it too. What can help you wake up in the morning as well is your body's dehydrated. So it's, it's lagging, and, you need to fill it. Like it hasn't drank anything for, 7-8 hours or whatever. And so you
5.
Yeah, me too this morning. So I guess
it's a long time. No, but it is a long time. Yeah. And so one thing I notice for me is, which I'm sure is part of the kidney, liver stuff, all that digestive stuff, is that if I start to feel too icky in my gastrointestinal system, then I start drinking water like crazy. And sometimes it's a very conscious, like, oh, I don't feel so hot, let me drink more water. And sometimes it's like a slow rolling thing. Like I maybe don't really notice because I'm like busy, or nobody will leave me alone for 5 seconds to like check in. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't had water in, all day.
Hours. Yeah, exactly.
And so I totally noticed that. But you did mention your daughter having skin problems. And I know that we know each other a little bit. And I know you've shared some things with me. I just wonder if you would share just a little bit, if you would, because you did bring up your daughter and she does have skin problems. So I imagine as an herbalist, you're going to use some of that knowledge and skills to try to help her and other members of your family. So if you could, if you would, maybe just tell us just a little tiny bit about whatever that journey has been for you to help your daughter.
Yeah, for sure. So she's actually the reason why I ended up going to school for it. Was we found out she had a lot of food allergies, sensitivities, and things like that. And when we started taking those foods out of her diet, her body just like, it almost kind of shut down. Like her immune system was really depleted. And so all the toxins were coming through and coming out onto her skin. So she developed seborrheic dermatitis, which is basically cradle cap, but she had it all over her face, down her neck and everything. And very red, very inflamed. And it was months and months before we really got a hold of it. And I researched like crazy, trying to figure out, how I could help her both externally as well as internally. So that's when I kind of started playing around with making my own oils and salves and stuff. And I finally found one that finally started healing the raw skin that had come up from all the peeling and everything like that. And so I was like, wow, I'm like, this natural stuff actually works. Like, who would have thought, the one thing that I used, it was a weed actually is what it is, but it's like, has all these amazing abilities to it. And I'm just like, my mind was blown and I just couldn't believe it. So I just, wanted to keep learning. But like you had mentioned earlier, how it's so hard to do that sometimes because there is so much information out there and a lot of it is very conflicting. So trying to make sense of it all was just, it was exhausting. And, so, but I just grew a passion for it, and, wanted to try and help other people with it. So I was like, why not go ahead and try school and, get some actual, real learning from, experts and all of that. So that's what led me there. And I mean, and this was when it all started. It's been about 5 years now with her. And, she's not 100% out of the water. Her journey is still going for sure. It's been a huge process because it's been both internal as well as external and emotional. Like that's a big thing too for her, like I mentioned with her nerves. So there's a lot going on and, trying to, get a handle on it. And, we've tried all different things and we're still trying. And I'm, it's a, it's an adventure for sure,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, but isn't that the lesson? But isn't that a life lesson though? Aren't we all every day just trying and learning?
Exactly.
Let me back up. If we choose to, then every day we're trying and we're learning and we're testing and we're, revamping and we're adjusting. And because we're all on this journey, at least that's the way I see things, like we're all on this journey. But how hard as a mom to see your little one. And I don't know about you, I only have one girl, but my little girl, I'd be like all over it, like you were. It sounds like you were, obviously. I mean, and you eventually were able to find ways to heal her and to, and to continue to heal her from that point forward. And now to share that passion with others. But how hard is a mom? Oh my gosh. Like, and it appeared on her skin and on her face and just commendations to you for A, going through it, B, having the wherewithal to just kind of be like, I am going to do everything in my power to try to resolve this for her. It's so deep. It's so personal. It's so transformative. It's transformative. I mean, and you share about how that transformed you a little bit, such that you're like, you know what, I'm going to go pursue this thing and I'm going to do more so I can help more people and try to help it be more clear to others. And that's a lot. That's a lot, Mama.
It really, it was. But I do want to say that I mean, like you said, I'm not perfect either. Like one of my hashtags is perfectly imperfect because I will happily admit, like I feel like some people, they look at me and they're like, oh my God, like your kids eat so great. And like this, how do you do it? And like, blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm like, well, one, it was a lot of work. Like it didn't happen overnight. And two, like I get frustrated a lot because it is harder. We took the harder route as far as, trying to get to the bottom of it. And there's been many, many days, nights crying, over frustration, as well as just, feeling like questioning whether or not I'm doing the right thing for her, and like seeing her and like, just like the emotional pain that came with that a lot, thankfully, like the overall, like actual physical pain wasn't, it looked worse than it felt most of the time. So, but seeing her go through that and like crying with her, and but then days when it's like, it's really hectic and it's like, God, I would love nothing more than to just go grab a pizza and bring it home and eat, and it's like, oh, I can't, like, like our life literally revolves around food. And it's not even just for like, we want to eat healthier. It's that we don't have a choice with her, or well, we have a choice, but if we make the not so good choice, then she suffers for it, so that part is, it's very, very overwhelming sometimes. And it can, it can be really hard. And so
I get it. Yeah.
But I mean, it's worth it though too. And like what, I keep telling myself and like telling her, like, our biggest goal is to try and set her up for life, like, so that when she gets older, she, hopefully doesn't have to continue to go through these. She will, be healed, or, you know, at least be in a better place to know herself, you know, like what's good to eat, what's not, what's going to have these effects on her, and, you know, and hopefully make those good decisions, you know, for herself without mommy telling her what she can and cannot eat, you know? So.
I can only imagine. And, you know, I totally get it, because none of us, I don't believe that anybody really is perfect. Well, I try to tell myself in a reminding kind of way that nobody else is perfect.
Yes.
Because I'm so perfectly imperfect. And in fact, you know, just on a super personal note, yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, I was totally in this whole spot of just feeling all the feels, like you can see it's manifesting. Like just feeling all the feels, but all like, it was all like sort of like the like shame or guilt or like I'm not perfect stuff. And I chose to not just recognize this, but also to like recognize where it was coming from. And because I spend a lot of time in the online space, obviously, as I'm sure you do as well, Tiffany. And, you know, that can really like get in there and start to make things all funky. And just me showing up, it's not even always other people's stuff. It's just me showing up, like my stuff gets funky. And I went around the house and I started taking pictures of all the things that are imperfect, which is like the entire house. But I needed to do that so I could formulate my thoughts about how, and then so that I could then write, which I haven't shared with anybody. Well, I guess I'm sharing now. But to write the vulnerability of like, this is really what my life looks like. Okay, that picture that you saw of me that I posted was probably taken months ago. Okay, and it probably is the only one of me. And it's not perfect, but it looks like I'm happy and I'm shining, and I probably was, but my day-to-day is not necessarily like that. I mean, right now I'm like stuck about this stupid, like, what are those doorknob, whatever this thing is called?
Yeah, the door stopper.
Yeah, the door. So I put that there because the kids had already started poking a hole. And so, because they keep throwing the door open. And now I'm like, oh my God, there's this thing in the video, right? Except that's life, right? And so that's what we're talking about here. And that's how we're talking about, like, and so the way you infuse your life into your business is like the same, I think, is that your business is your life and your life is your business.
Exactly.
And that's how they mix together, which is why it makes it so great, and why we can tell, or at least I can tell, and hopefully all of our viewers can tell, that this really comes from your heart. Like, this is really your space that you're, and your light or your love or your whatever that you're offering to others as a way to also help them to see, hey, conscious living doesn't mean be perfect. It means just keep trying.
Exactly.
Just keep trying. Just learn. Just work to learn. Just own your journey. And because one day, as you said, your daughter, she's going to know, you know what, I probably can't grab that pizza. But I might be able to have like this little piece of something, and I know what it's going to do to me. So I also know how to address that when that happens, because we all have to give ourselves grace in that way.
Yeah,
don't we?
For sure. Definitely.
Okay. So let's see. We have talked, well, first of all, we talked about a lot. And everybody knows I like to go a little bit deep. So I'm going to ask the mama, Tiffany, how she is doing today. You share with us a little bit about how it can be so overwhelming sometimes, and how it can be so hard. And you might not really want to give up, but sometimes you kind of want to give up. right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you have all these limitations or challenges. It doesn't matter what word we put there, the feeling behind it is going to be the same. You can think of it as a challenge, you can think of it as a struggle or a limitation, or you can think of it as an opportunity. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's all difficult, or it can be, and some moments are more difficult than others. But you infuse this into your business, and so I'd love to hear how the Mama Tiffany is doing as she does all of this, as she mixes all these things together and then shows up to help other people. So I want to hear about that.
So I won't lie, I feel a little overwhelmed a lot of times, but I will give myself some credit as far as the last, say the last year especially. I feel like I've grown a lot in the sense of just how I don't let things get to me as much as I used to. So perfection was something that I would strive for in like everything that I would do. Um, and I always, had this need to like go above and beyond for things like birthday parties, where I made cakes for years, and I, had to create this awesome cake and, decorations all Pinterest out the butt, like all over my house. Like, when it came to stuff like that, like arts and crafts projects, all of it. And I loved doing that stuff because I am crafty and I do like to work with my hands like that. But I finally got to the point of not caring anymore about other people's opinions about me and what I'm doing, and like just knowing that the only people that I really have to show up for are, myself and my family. And not that nobody else matters, but it's pick and choose, like somebody needs my help. Okay, fine. But, I'm sorry. No, I don't have time to make your birthday cake for your kid this year anymore. Like I'm done with that. Like that part of my life is over, and like I have this going on. So yeah, and like so now it's just been like we had just had a birthday party for my daughter. It was the best because it was so simple, so quick. I mean, it was 2 to 4 o'clock. By gosh, if everybody wasn't out of here by 4 o'clock, like it was bing, bang, done, out of here. And I was like, and I didn't even care. I was like, I didn't make cake this time. I made her cake. I made her pie because she needed her own thing. But it was like, nope, store-bought cupcakes for you guys. And I was like, what, this is me right now. Anyway, like I don't need to go all out and, whatever. And like my husband was telling me, he's like, good job on, not, losing yourself today, basically. Cause that's what would happen anytime we had any kind of thing going on. Was I would get so stressed out and like freak out. And like before the time would come, I'd be crying at some point or another because I was so overwhelmed and like had all this stuff to do and whatnot. And like none of that anymore. And, so like when things start to get hectic, like, yeah, I do still, lose it sometimes, but I've come to work a lot better in the just, address each situation individually as it comes. Don't freak out about it as much as I used to. And, just go with the flow. And and I'm learning, like it's time management is a big thing and actually I sat down last night to fill out my Google Calendar and like color coded everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, look at all this time in the day. Like how much of this time have I been wasting, because I don't have a good enough plan. Like I don't, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like I'm just like, I might actually really start to be productive and not like feeling like I'm running around like a chicken with their head cut off because, I've got 10 to-do lists and I lost all of them. And like,
Oh my God.
Yeah, like it's been crazy. It's been an adventure for sure, trying to learn all of this. Running a business is not like, it's totally new. There's a lot that goes along with it, and like trying to make sure you like, I'm bad at not planning properly. I forget like, oh, I have to like make meals for the kids. You know, I have to feed them. Like, you know, I don't like, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I was planning on working from like 10 to 2. Oh, wait, I forgot about like the 30, 45 minutes to stop for lunch, you know, and like, shoot. So then I'd get frustrated because I wouldn't get all my stuff done. And, you know, so it's been baby steps of learning, like, okay, I have to like actually think like, this is what I want to get done. But realistically, these are the times that I have, you know, like, so trying to remember to include everything.
It's such a big challenge. It's such a big struggle, but it's also so transformative. Like I can even see, and I feel like as I'm watching you, while we're talking, we were talking about this experience and these changes that you've been making and the things that you've noticed, this conscious living that you're doing. And I can like feel the lightness, like I can feel the raising of your energy. And, I say feel, I don't know if I'm feeling it, if I'm witnessing it. I don't know. I still haven't figured that part out about myself. But it does, like I'm like, oh, and she really feels transformed, and it's just so amazing. I've been going through some stuff too, so trust me, I totally understand. But I think this is a perfect segue into, I have something called the Starlight Round questions, because I know we're coming a little bit close to the end here. And so the Starlight Round questions, Tiffany, are 3 questions that I ask every guest. I usually ask them in different orders. And I think that they're surface questions, but they're like deep surface questions. The only caveat is that you have to answer with the first thing that pops in your head. There's no editing yourself, because I'll catch you. So you just have to answer. And if you're willing to do that, then we'll do that Starlight Round of questions. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. All right. First thing is, share with us your biggest dream goal for the year in life or business.
Wow, that's a really good question. I'm going to be very honest. I have not set a big goal yet, unfortunately, because that's actually something I've been talking to my husband about recently, was that I feel like that's one of the things that's holding me back, is that I have not allowed myself to fully have my vision of what like I want my potential future to look like, or our potential future to look like. Like I just have, it's probably fear, you know, holding me back, and my stupid ego, you know, like it doesn't matter what you want, like you're not getting it, like, you know, like that stupid voice in your head.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like fight through that, and actually in my calendar, I actually have time set aside tomorrow to like sit down and really allow myself that opportunity to have all the feels of what I, you know, want to do and where I want to go with this. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I understand the struggle. I set goals. So in one of my previous lives, I've lived multiple lives. In the same time period. I'm not a new person all the time, but I just keep transforming and changing and growing and learning and living.
Yeah.
I think for me, my experience with goals is that I used to just do things like this needs done, and whatever steps I need to take, then I'll do it. Like, you know, many of you know that, or have heard me say that I have a background in social work. So I have a bachelor's and a master's in social work. And I knew what steps needed to be taken to get there. Was that a goal? I don't know. I didn't really think of it as a goal. I thought of it as like, I have to grow up and I have to decide to do something with my life.
Yeah.
And I like learning, and I like the interior of minds and how all of that works. So my goal that I never thought of as a goal was I have to go to college. And if I have to go to college, then I have to go to school. And, you know, so, and then I had a family, and, yes, I wanted a family, but like, and yes, I had an idea, like, yeah, I want to be at home with my kids and blah, but what does that really mean? I didn't know. I had no clue. And so I literally learned all the time. So I totally get it about the whole goals thing. And like, I find that in business for myself and in life today, that I keep making a goal and then making a new goal. And I'm like, so these are actually goals? Like the fact that I want to get through today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what a goal is, as opposed to like, I just have to get through today. And that was some old thinking and some old, you know, beliefs and programming, if you would, that I had. So I totally get it. And I'm a recovering type A. I've been saying that for many, many, many years. And apparently I have to recover even harder as a business owner, because that 10 to 2 time or whatever that time slot is, yeah, I have like, whoa, I'm going to get 50 things done. Wait a second. I have a call in 5 minutes. Probably can't do 50 things in 5 minutes. Oh, and now the kid's crying. I totally get it. It can be hard as a mom to really set those goals. And I know your kids are a little bit older than mine, so I you know, I'm clueless, but I'm gonna watch you. I want to see what you do, because I think you're gonna teach me some more things. All right, okay. That was a great one. So right now, your biggest dream goal is to start dreaming of goals.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, next question. What is your biggest life or business challenge right now? How would you like to see that change? And what can we do to help you?
So I think my biggest challenge right now is figuring out what I want to do, or where my place is kind of outside of making my products and stuff, because I love doing that, but I want to do more, and I want to, you know, I want to educate others and share my experiences and all of that stuff. So I actually just recently had a consultation yesterday with someone, and I think I have an idea now of what I'm going to try and do, and that involves like writing and stuff, and which is, it's a challenge. I want to do it. I'm really excited about it, actually, because I've been wanting to write like crazy for a while now, but I'm not a writer, like, or at least I never have been, you know, like, so it's gonna, it's gonna be interesting to see how this works out, but I'm really excited to give it a try and see where it takes me. But so just trying to, that was actually one of my main reasons for setting up my calendar yesterday, because I have 2 main goals that I need to do in the next 2 weeks before she checks in with me. So I'm like, okay, got to stay on this. I got to make sure that I'm doing it. So so just trying to make sure that I'm doing those, you know, doing the stuff to work towards those little goals. And
that's awesome. That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. And we're going to have to talk about this writing thing, but we'll talk about it later. Definitely. We'll talk about it another time. Okay. Last question. You already shared this one a little bit, but if it's still the same answer, then talk about it a little bit more. But I imagine, knowing you a little bit, that something else is going to come up when I ask this question. Okay, you ready? It's the last question.
Okay.
It's the biggest one, but also the smallest one. Tell me one of your biggest personal changes. Tell me what one of your biggest personal changes was in the process, or is in the process of building your business.
It's trying to think of the right words. The moment when I decided that I didn't need validation from anybody to do what I wanted to do with this. And that happened actually right at the end of my schooling. I had about halfway through school, I had decided that when I was done, I wanted to I thought I wanted to pursue, get into nursing and become a nurse practitioner. And when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a doctor, and, my want for wanting to help people and all of that, I felt like I could do more if I did that, so I, started looking into it, was getting ready to set up my classes to do my prereqs for nursing and all of this stuff, like had schools lined up and whatnot. And I was really ready to like throw myself into it. And, then one of my last nights at school, like we were sitting in a circle, we were kind of going around talking about like where we were at the beginning of school and what our goals were and where we were at the end. And I was hearing, several of my classmates like talking about them like starting their own business and like, getting clients and doing this and everything. And like, by the time it got to me to share, I was like in tears. I was crying because I was like, oh my God, I was like, they're doing what I want to be doing. And I was like, I don't want to go to school for, 4 more years. Like, I mean, not that I don't want to make that commitment to it, but one, I was like, that's a lot of time away from my kids. Like that. I mean, it was doing the year for the herbalism school was already a full time for 1 year and was hard, so I couldn't imagine like, so, and we homeschool, and we would more than likely have to put them into school for me to go to school. And I didn't want to do that either. So I got home that night and, I did some yoga, tried to clear my mind a little bit. And then I just sat and I just, I tried to embrace whatever it was that was coming to me and like accepting. And finally, by the time my husband got home from work, I was sitting there and I just started crying again. And he's like, what the heck's going on? I was like, I don't want to go to school. I was like, I want to be an herbalist. I want to, I was like, I don't know exactly what with it. I was like, but I'm like, I think the only reason I wanted to do it was because I felt I needed that validation. Like nobody was going to trust me if I didn't have some kind of higher degree.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to, want my help or think I was good enough to help them. But I was like, look at, all these great, amazing people that I've been surrounded by the last year who have, very successful businesses with, in this field and, at the most maybe have a bachelor's degree in something, and I'm like, why can't I do this? Like, why am I'm like, no, I was like, I want to do this. So I changed my mindset on that and accepted it and was like, I'm going to try and make this work. And so I went with that and, and it was good. It was it felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders and everything. But, now I feel like that's kind of coming back around again. And I'm trying to like get back over that because there's more that I want to do besides just the products, and so it's a whole nother field of, the lack of experience, like I said, like, yes, I want to be a writer, but I don't really have the experience beyond like Facebook posts or something, like for my own, like nothing like crazy professional or whatnot. And so trying to get over that, is sense fear again of, like, just do it, just try it. Like what's it going to hurt to try it? You won't know unless you do it. So, if other people are doing it, why can't you? You're not dumb. Like,
oh, I'm just breathing in everything that you said because, oh my gosh, is that not a huge thing?
It was very
incredibly huge. Like there's no other word for it. It's ginormous. It's gigantic. And it takes up so much of our headspace and our heart space.
Yes.
And then when we just start to release, it, it's like the floodgates start coming.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And oh my gosh, that is huge. And you know what? It's also very, very personal. And I appreciate you sharing that with us because some people may not want to share that, but the fact that you rolled with it and you stayed in what was authentic to you and you shared all of that with us and the world at this point, because you are online, is really, really, really humongous. So thank you for sharing that. Also, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Because that was big. That was big to And I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be like, okay, this is the path. This is the path. I don't really want this path, but this is the path. This is the path. I really don't want this path. This is the path. This is the path. Okay, fine. I'll get off the path. Fine, I will get off the path. You mean I can actually still use my feet and step over the railing? Yes, you can. Okay, great. Then I'm going to step over the railing. Wait a second. The railing's really scared. It's okay. Just stepping.
Just don't jump off the cliff.
Yes. Right. Just, there's a way to get down a cliff. There is. Yes. There's a way. You do not have to just leap.
Exactly.
And crash. There is a way. You can find a way. That is incredible. And thank you so much for sharing that. Like, seriously, Tiffany, that was really, really great.
Well, you're welcome. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. It's really, I forgot my chair did that. Sorry, everybody. You should be used to me by now. Okay. All right. So, Tiffany, thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you for sharing all of the deep and personal things you did, and definitely for answering my Starlight Round questions. But before we close, let's just, I want you to share a little bit about your business again, where people can find you, how you'd love to connect with them, your favorite social channel, whatever it is that you want to share, so that we can get, more people helping you, supporting you, finding you, just meeting you, for Christ's sake. That was almost like cursing, wasn't it? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, tell us, Tiffany, share with us whatever it is you want to share with us, if you have any specials or anything going on like that, but definitely where people can find you and how we can connect. We'll make sure that we drop the links below, but go ahead.
All right. So yeah, you can find me. I've been on Facebook mostly lately. So you can go to my personal page, which is just Tiffany Eiben, or you can go to my business page, and that's Herbal Love and Conscious Living, or just Tiffany Eiben 157 if you type in Facebook / I try to keep things simple in my life. So yeah, and that's where you'll find all my products are on there under the photos. They're in albums and stuff. So right now I don't have an e-commerce store, so it is direct message to order or email for ordering and stuff. I like to communicate with my customers one-on-one, just to make sure that you're getting the products that you want, and that you actually need, and all of that fun stuff. So so those are the two main places. And then I'm also on Instagram though, again, Tiffany Eiben 157 there. And so definitely, I'd love it if you came and checked me out and liked my business page. That would be great. I post any new specials. I don't have a promo at the moment. I just got over one, but I am getting ready to release some new products. I have a postnatal line coming out to help moms that have just given birth and stuff. So hopefully in the next week or so, I will finally have those up and ready to sell. So look out for that. And anything else that I may be offering, I do giveaways every little while as well. So I think that's it.
That's super cool. And definitely go check out Tiffany's page and her products. I'm a little bit excited. Okay, I'm a little bit I'm 1 year postpartum at this point. Well, maybe 6. 6 plus 4, 3 plus 1. Anyways, whatever. I'm in constant postpartum period in my head. So, but I definitely know that herbal things after postpartum are super awesome. So I'm really excited to see that, and I can't wait for you to release that and share with us. Also, so go check Tiffany out on Instagram, Tiffany Eiben 157, or on Facebook, Tiffany Eiben or Tiffany Eiben 157 / Herbal Love and Conscious Living, whatever. We'll drop the links below. She likes to keep it simple, but she's super fun. You can see that. So make sure you check her out. Make sure you connect with her. And just as a reminder, I'm Kimbo Patton. I run the Oregon Transcription and Content Creation. Whatever. What do I do? Reorgan Content Creation Services. Wow, that was a tongue twister today. And where I help entrepreneurs and business owners to repurpose their content so that they can maximize what they've already created while reaching more and saving some of their own time. Anyways, thank you all very, very much for joining us for today's Sparkle and Shine interview series. And we look forward to connecting with all of you a bit later. Ta-da!
Thank you. Bye.